Good boy. Good boy. Yes. You're purring so hard. Good morning to you, buddy. He's like, I'm washing. It's wash time. Good cat.
By the way, hello everyone and welcome to Saturday. So yesterday, I talked a little bit, just briefly, about the sound bar that we had purchased in an effort to have a sound bar, but really we wanted to do karaoke at home. So today I have things functional, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the trials and tribulations with this. But I did get it actually working. Could it be set up in a little better way? Yes, but I'll talk about that also. So first things first, we have a Samsung television, and this is a Vizio soundbar. Now, the first thing that happened when I got it out of the box and hooked it up is I attached it with HDMI ARC, which is like the preferred method because it sounds better in the respect that it gives you access to other audio features like special Dolby, whatever. And it also allows you to use your television remote and control the soundbar. So you can do like volume up and down on your TV, but it controls the soundbar, which is preferred. Well, it didn't work. And I started a long line of troubleshooting things, and I couldn't get it figured out. And I was doing everything correct, but it still wasn't functioning. There's a bunch of stuff that you can change in the TV about whether it's doing bitstream or linear PCM, and you can do all of these different little intricate things, but it was connected. Like when you had it connected, the TV was like, oh, you have a receiver, which it had never done before. And I was like, yeah, I do, thank you. But no sound ever came out. And after a little research online, I found out that sometimes some models of Samsung TVs and some models of Vizio TVs or Vizio soundbars do not play well together, because there were other people that had the exact same problem, and the only way that they could solve it was to abandon HDMI ARC and use optical. And I was like, cool. Cool. But this was a very cheap soundbar, and I bought it refurbished, so it was even cheaper. And I was like, all right, let's try optical. Let's give that a shot. So I connected an optical cable from the television to the soundbar, and it worked. It worked fine. And the downside about using optical and not having a remote control that can affect the soundbar isn't actually a big deal, because remote controls can be programmed. So the soundbar had a feature where it's like, well, just hold this button to program volume up and hold this button to program volume down. So we typically use the remote that comes with the Apple TV to do all of our television stuff. So I was able to program volume up and volume down and mute to the soundbar, which kind of meant that HDMI ARC didn't mean anything to me anymore. I was like, okay, well, this works fine. So that was the first crisis that I solved. The second crisis I had to solve was actually getting the audio interface that I have, which is a first gen Focusrite Scarlett 18i8, to go into the soundbar along with the television audio. That was my whole thing, is I wanted the audio from the television to come out of the soundbar along with the microphone, so you can just play karaoke tracks off of YouTube and sing along, and it all comes out the same speaker. And I could have bought any speaker for this, but I was like, well, I should just buy a sound bar, because then I get a sound bar out of it, and that seemed like the best solution. So I didn't exactly know what I was doing. I knew that like on paper this should work, but I didn't know the specifics of it. But I have my Focusrite Scarlett 18i8. It is connected through SPDIF in, And that is coming straight from the television. You might be saying, well, that's a toss link. That's an optical toss link. How's it going into SPDIF? I have a converter box. You have to convert it. Now, this is apparently only a problem on like first gen, maybe first and second gen of these audio interfaces. Third gen, you can connect the optical output of the television straight into the optical input of the audio interface, but not on the first gen. You can't do that. So you have to convert it. So I did. So it's going through that little converter box. It's going from optical toss link to SPDIF coaxial, and the SPDIF coaxial goes into the input in there. Then I just have, you know, a microphone connected into the first jack. So in order to go out, it would be good to have another converter box, but I didn't have one on hand because I was actually planning on hooking this up a different way. I didn't know I couldn't use that optical input jack. I didn't know that was a limitation of first gen, which is great. So instead, I'm just coming out of the 1/4-inch monitor jacks in the back of the audio interface and going into the 1/8 aux jack of the soundbar. Is that ideal? No. No, that's not ideal. But does it sound fine? It sounds fine. It sounds fine. Like it functions and it sounds fine. A slightly better solution would be to have another one of those converter boxes and, you know, since I've come in SPDIF, to exit SPDIF as well and go from SPDIF back to optical into the soundbar. But am I going to do that? Probably not, because the best solution would be to have a mixer. And I wanted to avoid it if I could because it was an extra cost. And I was like, you know, I'm pretty sure I can get away with this with just the audio interface that I have. I didn't want to have to buy a mixer, but it would simplify things a little bit. It really would. Because right now I have this hooked up to the Mac. So you can see exactly how I have this all routed. So here's the XLR microphone, and then down here I've got SPDIF left and right, and I've joined them into a stereo track, and then I'm taking it out into monitor 1 and 2. And you know, that's all fine. That's all fine. But if I had, you know, a dedicated mixer, I would just use that. Anyway, long story short, can you do it? Yes. Yes, you can do it. Is there better ways to do this? Yeah, there's better ways to do it. But am I satisfied with this? Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanted the opportunity to do this. I wanted the opportunity to do karaoke at home and have it all come out one speaker. And I don't know how often we'll do it. If we end up doing it all the time with friends, then maybe I'll alter the setup in some way. But I wanted to try and do as much as I could with what I had. And I didn't have to order, I mean, obviously I got a soundbar, but I didn't have to order much else in order to make this work. I ordered that, you know, optical to coaxial converter box, but that's it. Like I didn't need to order anything else. I had all the other cables on hand, and that was pretty cool. So this is going to work for now. And if anyone has ever, you know, thought about the idea of doing karaoke at home, you can. And I mean, this is just one of multiple ways that you could do this. The idea is really to get, you know, your input sources, your microphone and your television into some sort of mixing device. In my case, it's a Scarlett audio interface. And that's basically how you do it. And I looked into a bunch of other options as far as like karaoke stuff goes, and YouTube's the best. It's the best. It's free, and just about anything you could ever want is on there. You just type in song karaoke and it's on there. And it's great because it has a queuing system, because people can connect to your TV and then put stuff in the queue, and then when it's their turn, you just hand them the microphone. So yeah, that's how we're doing karaoke from home. And that's it. That's it for today. Little explanation. You know, I'm a little pissed off that the HDMI ARC didn't work. But is it enough for me to like return it? And it's like, no, because with this television, it doesn't have any of the fancy Dolby stuff. So like optical is actually probably going to sound basically the same. And we you know, watched something earlier and it sounds fine. And we have a way to do the karaoke that we want to do. So like, I'm pretty satisfied because this is a pretty minimal investment to be able to do this, and I'm happy about it. The other cool thing is that I can put my audio interface into standalone mode where I don't need a computer. So I don't even have to have the computer connected. I haven't tested that, but it's supposed to work. So that's really cool too, that I don't even have to have the laptop out. So yeah, hopefully in the near future, we'll get a chance to try this out and do some singing. Because in my opinion, karaoke is better when you have, somebody that's actually, with a dedicated mic singing. So hopefully soon. All right, that is it. I'm not talking about anything else today. Thank you so much for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?